Christian Alliegro flipped this game around. Let's talk about how he did it, plus a few other turning points in the game last night.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badgers fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings. Thank you for being a part of this community, for tuning into the show and making this your first stop every single day. Today, we are doing a new episode. We're going to after every game this year, we're going to break down a couple of the key turning points in those games. Today's episode, we were talking about Christian Alliegro, Daniel Neal, Tretch, a couple of the key moments in the games that helped flip it. We're going to call it turning points. Let's get into the first one. So Badgers are not looking great coming out of halftime, up 14-10. It's the 4th and 1. So Middle Tennessee State is down is trailing 14-10. The Badgers have a 4-point lead, but Middle Tennessee State comes out of that halftime. They're on a 7-minute drive. It feels like they have a lot of the momentum going here. It's a 4th and 1, 8:31 left in the third quarter. Ball is on the UW 24. They line up and Christian Alliegro stones them. It's one of the biggest turning points of this game for me. Let's go into the mechanics of what happened, why it's such a big deal. The play before, it was a third down run. Middle Tennessee State almost got it. So to set up this play, Aaron Witt actually makes a really nice stop to set up the 4th and 1. So let's give credit there. That sets the table. 4th and 1. Here's the defensive line, the guys with their hands in the dirt that the Badgers come out with. They go Witt, Reiger, Barton, Lane, and Daryl Peterson. So they line up 5 across. 4th and 1, short yardage. Ben Barton, give him a ton of credit. He kind of fights through a double team, forces himself in the backfield. That creates quite a bit of congestion back there, and it opens the play up for Christian Alliegro to loop around, make the hit, and get the stop. Short circuits that drive, kills their momentum, gets the Badgers kind of back into this out of halftime. And then from there, the wheels really came off for Middle Tennessee State. That felt like their last gasp. So that's a massive play. A couple other things here. Middle Tennessee tried kind of a jet sweep action to pull the linebackers away. Christian Alliegro trusts his eyes, no false steps, saw it right away. As soon as he saw that running back take the handoff, he reacted, clean hole to get him just because Ben Barton and Brendan Lane, the work that they did to open that up. That's turning point number 1. Again, stopped their drive, gave the ball back to the Badgers. And from there, it really felt like it was all Wisconsin. It was all Wisconsin. And that was that's why you have a Christian Alliegro. That's why you have a guy like that who can go north-south, but also east and west. Massive play in the game. Next turning point here. Let's go to that 4th and 3 decision for the Badgers. Middle Tennessee is up 3-0. Wisconsin has driven down. If you remember, they had a 1st and goal, a 2nd and goal, a 3rd and goal, 1st and goal, Dylan Jones stuffed. 2nd and goal, Dylan Jones stuffed. 3rd and goal, Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator, schemes up a really nice play to Lance Mason. I think it would have been a walk-in touchdown if the throw had been better, but Daniel Neal misses it. So now you've got 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. You're down 3-0 in the second quarter. I was saying kick the ball. Again, I don't know if I've become risk adverse over the years, but they decided to go for it, which, listen, that's a vote of confidence in the team. I think the team obviously feeds off that kind of stuff. They want to be aggressive. So they line up. They got 2 on each side. It's Lance Mason, Tyrell Henry on the left side. Tyrell Henry goes in kind of a fake jet sweep back into a whip route motion. Perfect throw, touchdown. A couple things that are interesting here. First of all, it's the decision. The guts to not just take the 3 points, because if that doesn't work out, and I'm going to get to that, this play almost didn't work. When you go back and rewatch it, it almost didn't work. So it takes a lot of guts to go for it in that situation, to not kick the field goal, to not take the guaranteed points. 4th and 3 with an offense that hadn't looked great, that's not a gimme. But they run the play, scheme it up great. They see they have man coverage, right? As Tyrell Henry starts going motion, the Middle Tennessee cornerback is running with them. I think that's an easy read. I'd be interested to see what happens in that play if it's zone, if it's not man coverage, if they don't see that cornerback running with Tyrell Henry, if they do something different, or if there's a check that Daniel Neal goes to. But they clearly saw the man coverage. Tyrell Henry was open on that whip route. If you look at the offensive line on that play, there was a miscommunication. So off the left side, they had 2 rushers, and Joe Brunner turns one loose, shifts over to the right, and they let a free rusher through on the left side, where basically Kerry Kadanko blocks nobody. Kadanko blocks nobody. And thankfully, it's a quick route. Daniel Neal saw it right away. He had pressure in his face. He delivered the pass, but that play almost didn't work because of an offensive line issue that I think was on Brunner. If you go back and look at it, Riley Ballman takes his guy. Brunner comes over to kind of take an interior defensive tackle, but Kadanko was there, and he turns his guy loose. The running back is on the opposite side of Daniel Neal, so he can't come over and help provide pass protection. Great route scheme from Jeff Grimes. Pass protection has to get a little bit better, but give a ton of credit in that moment. Daniel Neal made the right read, made the right call. That was a massive turning point in this game. It gives the Badgers a 7-3 lead, one that they're not going to relinquish for the rest of the game. Obviously, it's 14-10 going into halftime. And, it gives, we talked about last week, you want to give Daniel Neal a couple opportunities to make throws in duress, to make throws in difficult situations. That was one of those moments where that might come into play later in the year. That might be something that they can build upon. Again, the offensive line will have to clean it up, but huge moment in the game, huge turning point in the game, because if Middle Tennessee stops them there, can you imagine the momentum flip? You're down 3-0. You drove down to the goal line. You couldn't run it in. Then you went for it on fourth down. You got turned away. Middle Tennessee's got the ball back. The crowd there were boo birds at halftime. The crowd probably starts booing. That would have been a massive momentum shift if they didn't get in, but they did. 7 points. Big guts call from Luke Fickell. Really great route by Tyrell Henry. Great play call by Jeff Grimes. And great quick read and accurate throw from Daniel Neal. And the Badgers go up 7-3. And again, a lead they are not going to relinquish. All right, let's take a second here. We're going to come back with two more turning points. One good one and one bad one from the Middle Tennessee game. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show over at Supply House. If you're trying to get your crew on track, if you need HVAC, plumbing, electrical supplies, order today over at Supply House and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. It's over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. It's game-changing. Plus, their parts finder 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Right now, join the free Trade Master program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege for 5% off. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. SHCollege for 5% off. Today's episode also brought to you by our incredible friends over at Gametime. If you need tickets for literally anything you're looking for, go to Gametime, whether it's Kohl Center, Camp Randall, LeBon, whatever it is. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you want to go to a concert, a theater, a Broadway show. You can get those tickets on Gametime, and college football is obviously back. Could not be more excited. Tailgates, rivalries, energy in the stands. There's just nothing like it. And let's be real, actually getting tickets can sometimes feel like more of that battle than the game itself. So right now, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, let's jump back into this. Next turning point of the game. And again, this is the turning point show. So we talked about the fourth down stop from Christian Alliegro. We talked about the fourth down touchdown to Tyrell Henry. The next turning point of this game that I'm going to get into, 14-10 Wisconsin. 1st and 10, Wisconsin has the ball. So Wisconsin's in the third quarter. It's 14-10. Wisconsin has the ball at their own 39-yard line. 7:45 left. This game at this point still feels like a grind. 14-10. Wisconsin hasn't had any explosive plays. This is the Tretch Kekahuna 61-yard backbreaker that really opens up the dam, that really gets this game opened up. Wisconsin comes out 3-by-1, so they have three receivers on the wide side, one receiver on the short side, and they run. It looks like they're running kind of an option look to that wide side. It's going to be Daniel Neal, and it's going to be Dylan Jones running to the left with a bit of an option look. The Badgers offense line does an incredible job of selling this. In unison, everybody shifts to that side. The defense reacts violently, right? The defense, the linebackers are flying to that side. And now you can see what Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator Grimes, is setting up with this. So get all the action heading to the left, and then Tretch out of that slot on the wide side comes around, and this is set up perfectly. Big shout out to Emerson Mandel, new right tackle. Sells the action, slips out into the open field, and there's really one guy on Middle Tennessee that has a beat on Trećke Kahuna on this play. Defensive back, safety, and he's knifing in. He has an angle, and this is a tough block in space. Emerson Mandel, redshirt freshman, starting at right tackle for the first time. And he's got basically a very athletic defensive back knifing in on Treč with an angle. And he does just enough. He gets a piece of him, sends him into the void. And a void is just that spot on defense where you can no longer make a play. He sends him into the void. It's not a big hit. It's not a pancake, but it knocks him off his angle. Right? If you ever hear astronomers, but people talking about asteroids that might hit Earth, right? And they always talk about you don't have to destroy the asteroid. You just got to knock it off its orbit. You have to knock it off its impact angle. If you do that enough, it's just going to fly on by. That's what Emerson Mandel does to this defensive back from Middle Tennessee State, knocks him off his angle. Treč is able to run around him. And from there, you see the open field ability of Trećke Kahuna, what we talked about. He has a natural ability in open space. He weaves through traffic, he sees angles, he's fast, he's pretty explosive. So you see that ability in open space that we've all talked about, that we've been excited about. And then downfield, it's Chris Brooks blocking. It's Vinny Anthony blocking. Chris Brooks blocks for about 30 yards downfield to give Treč the touchdown. That's the difference between a 30-yard run and a 61-yard touchdown, is Chris Brooks downfield blocking. Vinny Anthony sprinting downfield as a blocker. This was a excellent play call, set up perfectly, great unison on the offensive line. Elite job, Emerson Mandel getting out in space, taking out the DB, Treč doing the rest. And this really broke the dam for Middle Tennessee State. This was a 14-10 game, and then bam, 21-10. The wind is out of their sails. Then quickly it's 28-10, off another reverse, 35-10, 42-10. They never recovered from this one. And this was a big moment in that game. Trećke Kahuna, 61 yards. Big kudos, Jeff Grimes, obviously Treč, but the receivers blocking downfield, Chris Brooks, Vinny Anthony, and Emerson Mandel. Elite job for a young offensive lineman in a new spot, getting in space and doing what he had to do to make this play successful. Elite play, turning point number 3. Last turning point I'm going to get into here, and this is the play before halftime. This is kind of a negative turning point, right? Turning points can go in either direction. This was the middle screen. So the Badgers have the ball. It's 14-3. Minute 22 left. They're at their own 20, but they have all their timeouts. And they clearly want to set something up here. So 1st and 10, they run a middle screen. Dylan Jones heads up to the left and loops back in. I saw some people say this would have been a massive gain if they completed it. When you go back and look, Middle Tennessee State has 3 defenders kind of in that area, 15 yards off. I think it would have been a nice gain. This wasn't something that, in my opinion, was going to break for 30, 40 yards. But if they completed it, I think they would have got 10, 15 yards out of it. But didn't happen. It was some congestion. Joe Brunner got held up on his defensive lineman a little too long. The ball hit Dylan Jones in the hands, but before he could really tuck it, he runs into Brunner. It gets popped out. Obviously, goes to the defensive tackle. Nice play, by the way. It didn't matter because they scored anyway. Nice play by Daniel O'Neal, preventing the initial touchdown. That could have been a pretty easy walk-in, but Daniel O'Neal, with the effort, got the defensive tackle down. They scored 2 plays later. This felt in that moment like a massive turning point, right? Instead of potentially going down at best or at worst going into halftime 14-3, okay, let's take a breath. We have control. Potentially you could have gone down and scored before halftime. But instead it's 14-10. Then you get the ball back with a minute left, and it doesn't feel like you have a great idea what you want to do. You kind of just run the clock out. You had 3 timeouts. People are booing. This was a massive turning point in this game where it to me, in that moment, it felt like we had gone from, this is ugly, but the Badgers are obviously winning this, to this is a game and they have a lot of momentum going into halftime, and now we are being booed off the field. So in retrospect, what went wrong? I just think that's the type of play that requires a lot of timing. There's a lot of congestion in the middle of the field. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. There's linemen that can get blown up. There's a blitz that could blow this up. You have to make a kind of a quick, tight pass to a running back that may not be one of your best receivers. It just feels like the type of play that maybe you don't want to call in that situation. And I don't know if Dylan Jones should catch it, right? But I don't know if you're going to see a ton of that in that situation anymore. Ultimately, it didn't matter. The Badgers win, but that was another big turning point in this game. We're going to wrap it up there on Wisconsin. Happy NFL Day. Thank you for tuning in to Turning Point. We're going to do this after every game. Again, breaking down the key turning points in the game. You had the Christian Alliegro 4th down stop. Big ups to Ben Barton on that play for helping to blow that up. And for Aaron Witt on the play previous to set up the 4th and 1, you had the Trech Kahuna 61-yarder. Big ups to Emerson Mandel on that play. Chris Brooks, Vinny Anthony downfield blocking. The 4th down touchdown pass to Tyrell Henry. Danny O'Neal with pressure in his face because of an offensive line breakdown still delivered that perfect throw. And then that middle screen that Middle Tennessee used to reflip the momentum in their favor. Those were my turning points for this game. Let me know what you think. If you had any other turning points as well on Wisconsin, and we will definitely talk to y'all later.